welcome in our co-host, the Admiral, Bill Stubblefield. Bill, Rob, I wasn't going to play that open, but because behind the scenes you were just carving people up this morning, I figured I'd break that one back out.
It's good to be back among my buddies, the little cuddly puppies.
Your buddies? I hate to see how you are with your enemies. Jeez. This is a rough morning already. We haven't even gone on the air, and both Gilstrap and I are begging for mercy here.
You're such easy marks. It's fine.
And it continues as we say good morning to the New York Times best-selling author John Gilstrap.
I'm not sure I'm saying anything. I'm offended. You've been on a roll.
Yeah, but unfortunately, only the two of you heard them.
Probably best. You know, people out there think you're a nice, lovable senior fellow.
If they only knew.
If they just knew the truth behind all this. Yesterday, we were at Monocacy Battlefield. Dr. Stephen Goldman, a frequent guest in this program, was giving a talk on the battle at Monocacy that took place 161 years ago this month. And it was a pleasure seeing you gentlemen on a nice, warm summer day.
And Steve did a good job making the presentation. But our good friend and buddy John Gilstrap carried the day by asking penetrating questions after the talk was over. I was proud of John.
I saw John take off for where they were doing the muskets presentation over there.
Yeah. I did. It was, well, I'd heard the presentation. It was a good presentation, but they had guns. So
yeah, so he was gone.
so I was gone.
He smelled gunpowder and he took off.
The visitor center was, their air conditioning is broken.
Correct.
And it was a warm day. And so the presentation was outside under a tent, and that blessed breeze that came up.
Yes.
I think it tormented Steve because it kept blowing his papers all around. But for those of us in the audience, that was
there was
lovely
a
moment.
big storm cloud that came up. It never did rain, but it did bring a nice strong breeze.
You know, we think of Antietam being the lovely pastoral battleground today because they made a real effort not to change Antietam. Well, Monocacy, which I did not know about, first time I've been to Monocacy Battlefield, is equally lovely and tranquil. It wasn't the day of the battle, but it's a battle that very few of us know anything about.
There's nothing like hanging. It's nothing more soothing than to hang out where 25,000 people died in one day. It's.
I am just, I don't know, 15 minutes, and I'd never been there. 33 years I've lived within minutes of that battlefield and have never visited. I've been to Gettysburg, Antietam, but never to Monocacy.
But similar to Antietam, unlike Gettysburg and some of the others, there's no development around there. It's still a pristine as it was the day of the battle.
Our first guest of the program this morning is Delegate Mike Pushkin. He is the State Democratic Party Chair. He joins us via telephone. Mike, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you. Good morning. It's good to be here.
Pause for a moment. Bill, do you want to insult Mike?
Before we start this?
Buddy. Oh, okay. All right. It's just us.
You can. It's fine. Make me feel at home.
The Admiral's been on a roll this morning. His elbows are sharp today, Mike. Be careful. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the warning.
Yes, sir. I was off last week. Otherwise, I would have had you on the program last week, Mike, as a courtesy to follow up from our conversations with the two Republicans from the House that we had on last week, Pat McGeehan, House Majority Leader, and Ian Masters, new delegate. And this was all over the Instagram flap, which broke out when an account with Ian Masters, associated with Ian Masters on Instagram, posted comments that I'm sure everybody's heard by now, or at least read. And those comments were viewed as anti-Semitic and also a touch of white supremacist to it as well. So Ian Masters was on the program. I'm sure you've heard his story by now too, Mike, that this was an account that got hacked, an old account from a phone he gave to an acquaintance that he was trying to help back on his feet. It gave him the use of the phone for purposes of job interviews and such. And the person posted the comment about Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Your concerns on this are twofold, obviously, Mike. One, you are Jewish, and these comments were anti-Semitic. And two, a press release sent out by Delegate Pat McGeehan, which also singled you out as well as another delegate in the House for your reactions on the Ian Masters situation. Your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, I did listen to the two interviews. I listened to the interview first that you had with Majority Leader Pat McGeehan, and then the following day, I believe, the following morning, you interviewed Delegate Masters. and I listened to him intently. And two things I did not hear in either of those interviews was, one, a believable story, and two, any sort of condemnation of the actual comment that was on Instagram, whether that account is, whether it was from look. And let me first of all say, I really hope I hope it wasn't Delegate Masters, but all of the evidence would lead me to believe that it is. I think that, and to the credit of Admiral Stubblefield there, when he was listening to Pat's story, he even said that his interview really left more questions than answers. And again, I didn't hear any kind of any effort to distance themselves from the actual comments that were incredibly anti-Semitic and white supremacist. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot, and I was, falsely accused of something like this, and if I didn't do it, I think I would reach out to other members of the caucus who are affected by this, whether it's the or not of the legislature that were affected by this, whether it was me or Delegate Hansen, the two Jewish members, or any of the three African American members. But that hasn't happened. We've not heard anything from Delegate Masters.
Have you reached out to either McGeehan or Masters?
No, I have not.
You were not pleased with the release that Delegate McGeehan put out, the House Majority Leader, either, in which you were named in that release, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that was. I felt like I was being called out for calling out an extremely anti-Semitic and white supremacist comment, that was from an account that was linked to Delegate Masters' cell phone. It was linked to the website of the West Virginia Citizens Defense League, an organization of which he was the president, I believe, for over a decade, until he was appointed by Governor Morrissey to the House of Delegates. And I believe it was also linked to his YouTube channel. So one would assume that he had something to do with this. So simply by calling it out, I became the target of this press release from Pat McGeehan, which I thought was odd that actually was signed. It looked like it had been signed off by the chief of staff of the House of Delegates. So I still haven't heard from the speaker. I would like to talk to the speaker about this, see if he knew about the press release, if his chief of staff actually did sign off on it because his name was on it. But I found the press release really to be equally offensive as to the original Instagram post. And again, what we did not hear in the press release in either of the two interviews was any sort of condemnation of the comment, which I think everybody can agree is all sorts of different types of people that live in House District 91 or across the state of West Virginia, and they should feel like they are represented by the person that the governor appointed to represent them. So I think simply, for McGeehan just to say, well, I looked into it and case closed, that's not good enough. And I think that y'all agree with that. That's not good enough.
In the press release Pat McGeehan sent out, it, quote, Democrats Pushkin and Hansen, and Evan Hansen also is Jewish, as I understand it, are not interested in the truth. They make those deceptive accusations because they desire power and social status at the expense of others. That was in the official release sent out by Majority Leader McGeehan. And your thoughts on that comment, Mike?
I don't even think it deserves a comment, or I'm saying to put this back on us like we did something. I am interested in the truth. That's why a simple investigation, and it wouldn't take long. A few minutes looking at that device would tell you if that's where the comment came from. But they're not interested in the truth because they're not allowing for an independent investigation. This will be very simple to prove or disprove. When you check IP addresses, you can see where the location was at the time of the comment. This will be very simple. I think what most people looking at this would say when the majority leader says, well, I looked into it and I've determined it was this guy, this basically homeless, I'm going to use his words, that it was basically a homeless guy, who's going to die soon. He did it, and we're not going to tell you his name, case closed. That's not a credible story. I don't think anybody would believe that. Did any of you believe that?
No, it deserves more than Pat saying, I looked into it, case closed. I agree with that.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. In fairness to Delegate Masters, I thought in his interview with us over a week ago, did state that he was strongly considering releasing the name. He was cooperating with any investigation in regards to police or whatever. And I thought that Ian genuinely did want more information to come out to clear his name.
Okay, that was over a week ago?
Yes, that was when we did the interview.
Has a name been released?
That was July the 3rd.
Do we know of any actual investigation with law enforcement?
No. I do not.
He said, I've talked with what law enforcement agency has he talked to?
I know he was working through Meta to get the data on the phone to try to get a location to prove that it was not with him. According to him, yes. That's the last I talked about this was July 3rd.
That's not an independent investigation.
I concur.
That's the person who most likely made the comment and a person who's covering for him saying, well, we're looking into it and it's over. Or we looked into it and it's over. Well, that's not good enough for the people that he was appointed to represent.
John Gilstrap.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. If I'm accused of doing something and I say I didn't do it, and I didn't do it, I personally, John, would expect to be believed because I said I didn't do it, and I have an outrageous explanation. Is sometimes, I write thrillers, so outrageous explanations are part and parcel to what I do. I don't understand if, in fact, just playing devil's advocate here, if in fact he did not write that the anti-Semitic statement, why would he apologize or disavow it? I mean, he has said that this is not something, at least in the press, it's reported, he has said it's not something he would ever say. But beyond that, if he didn't say it, why would he apologize for it?
Well, because all the evidence shows it points to the reasonable explanation is that he did it. So if it's linked to his phone, it's linked to his website, it's linked to that, I think at very least he would say a stronger condemnation or any condemnation of the actual comment. He's simply saying that's not something I would say. That's not a condemnation of the comment. And so I would expect that he would, if he really, I would expect that he'll reach out to the folks that his effect that he's expected to serve with in the legislature. There's been no effort to do that. Instead, we get a press release that targets the two Jewish members of the legislature who called it out.
Well, I won't speak to the press release. I think that's kind of bizarre, actually. That's deflection.
The press release, the entire interview. And I don't think you were on that day.
I was not. I was listening,
Don, but if you listen to it, it was a bizarre interview.
Yes,
and it did leave way more questions than it provided answers. And it's just an incredible, unbelievable story. And I think anybody that's paying attention to this, most likely it came from his account. It did come from his account. What's far less likely is that he happened to be visiting his hometown and be carrying an old cell phone that he hasn't used in a while and decided to give it to a homeless friend that's on his deathbed. Well, somebody that he cared so deeply about but he didn't know that he was sick.
And I'm not taking a side here one way or the other. I have no dog in this fight. So, but sitting on the outside, first of all, were I assuming the Master's Ian's story is correct, and he's telling the truth, I think it would be wrong for him to out the person, to name the person who did this, because that person did not choose to be in the public eye. So I think that for
disagree. As soon as you send out an Instagram post, you have put yourself in the public eye, John. I would disagree with that strongly.
Instagram post under the name of somebody who is in the public eye, which is illegal. It's illegal to impersonate an elected or appointed, in Master's case, official and do that. So yeah, that's against the law. And by doing so, in the name of a public person, he did put himself in the public eye. This person, whether he exists or not, put himself in the public eye. So the easy thing to do, and all we're asking for, this simple investigation, which isn't going to take Scotland Yard to prove or disprove this. It's simply looking up the IP addresses and determining the location of where the comment was made from.
And who makes that? Is that something?
For some reason, they're unwilling to do that. The speaker could call for that. The governor could weigh in. He's the one that appointed him without any sort of vetting.
Mike, your line's breaking up on us here. Mike, your line's breaking up.
Okay. The speaker could call for an investigation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, or the governor could weigh in. The governor's the one that made this appointment, apparently without any type of vetting, because a simple, looking at this profile picture, even before the comment was made, the profile picture was problematic. And I don't buy the story that they were just into Viking shows. I understand what Nordic runes are, but every single one of the Nordic runes that was in this picture is linked to the Nazi Party or the white supremacist movement. Every single one.
And do we know? I have I guess it's a screenshot of the post up here. What triggered the "he's not white" comment is supporting genocide is not the flex that white guy thought it was. What was the conversation about? Do we know?
No, I don't.
I wasn't part of the conversation.
Yeah, you're breaking up again, Mike. We're losing you.
I'm sorry. Let me try to go to a different room of my house here. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know exactly what the conversation was about. I wasn't part of the conversation. I wasn't the one that found the comment, which was thousands of comments deep into a video about Dave Portnoy. Looking at it, it seems like most of the commenters on there were folks from the left that were making these comments about Dave Portnoy. I'm not all that familiar with Dave Portnoy or UFC. It was about these fighting events, which I'm not really into. I don't know. I saw it after the fact. We were sent a screenshot of it the same time it was sent to the press.
Bill Stubblefield.
Yeah. Good morning, Mike. An elected official, I think, is at a higher bar than the non-elected types. And there is a responsibility to get to know what was or what was not said. As I pointed out when I interviewed both Pat McGinn and also Ian Masters, that there was and compared to what you just got through saying, that an independent investigation would address that point of what was actually said and would meet the criteria of a higher standard which we hold elected officials to. The other course of action is before I go to that, Ian Masters did say he was talking to law enforcement. I have not heard the results of that, but I would like to believe, and I do believe, Ian Masters is a man of his word and is talking to law enforcement. So hopefully this will be put to rest by a third party. But there's also a great possibility that this is going to quite deliberately take the course of inactivity and nothing will happen. That if you delay long enough and not do anything, the interest level will die and it'll go into other things. We'll never really know, but there'll always be a cloud over Ian's head because of this, whether it comes out with a third-party investigation or not. As we mentioned to Ian when he was on before, I think if I was him, I would very much want to have a third party to look at the facts and how credibility these statements are. So that's not a question. That is a statement. But my question basically says the same thing that what you've already said. You're advocating a third party, either Roger Henshaw or law enforcement, someone. And this is what I found to be disquieting about Pat McGinn. He dismissed a third party, saying he was the third party.
Yeah, well, he's not a third party. He's just there to cover for Delegate Masters, unfortunately. And I realize what he said wasn't a question, but I'll respond to it by saying I agree with your statement. And unfortunately, I agree with the last scenario that you laid out there. I think is what the Speaker of the House and the Governor and many folks in the Republican Party and Delegate Masters and Majority Leader McGeehan are hoping for, and that said, it just goes away. And at some point, people just quit talking about it, and there never really is any sort of just a minimal investigation that would show whether or not this comment was made from Delegate Master's current cell phone or not. And it'd be very easy. Like I said, this isn't rocket science. It would be very easy to prove or disprove. But for whatever reason, they seem very unwilling to do that.
You have given me an actual question this time, Mike. Will you let it go away?
Will I let it go away?
Will you
I
let
don't
it
think
go away?
that's with. I mean, I don't know if that is within my power. So whether it goes away or not, I don't control what people are talking about. Believe it or not, guys, my people don't control the media. I'm just kidding. That was a bad joke, but
A funny one, though.
sorry. No, I mean, it's not up to me whether it goes away or not. I think that if I were Delegate Masters, I would want to clear my name. They don't seem to have any interest in doing that. I think they seem to be just hoping that it goes away.
Well, let me ask this. Does this resonate at all with other things that Ian Masters has done? Does this fit
I
into
don't
his
know him that
personality?
well. He was appointed by the governor, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at the facts here. It matches his cell phone number, the account that it was linked to. There was a link to the West Virginia Citizens Defense League website, which he was the president of for over a decade. Immediately after receiving a phone call from Katie Coyne, the reporter from West Virginia Watch, within minutes, posts started being scrubbed from the account, and the name on the account changed temporarily, and then it was changed back after her story where she said that it called out that it had been changed. So whoever had access to that account also knew that the reporters were looking into it at the time within minutes. And there was, I believe, a YouTube page it was linked to as well that also belonged to Ian Masters.
Mike, on that note, we are just about out of time. I thank you for yours this morning, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Pushkin, he is the State Democratic Party chairman, also a member of the House of Delegates.